Congressman, welcome. And I just want to ask you right off the bat, is this really going to happen? Are we going to drop another $1 trillion into the taxpayers' lap?
Oh, James T., most certainly there will be an attempt, and it isn't going to be limited to $1 trillion. Chuck Schumer's talking about two more at $2 trillion a pop. There's now a move afoot, the SBA program of $350 billion. They think they're going to have all that money dispersed in the next week to 10 days, and they're going to want to come in and they haven't even told us what amount they want to come in and expand that program. So, yeah, you're talking hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars, and it's all rainbows and lollipops. It's unicorns. It's that's what this is as far as my spending friends want to do.
It's really frightening, and it's like they've been unleashed. It's like this is what we've sort of been trying to avoid, and you want to talk about taking advantage of a crisis. I think that, and I know you agree with me, that this is going to make things far worse as far as our economic health. So you've called for your colleagues in the Trump administration to give hope to to Americans and to set forth the plan to reopen the economy and remove oppressive government restrictions. What's your plan, Congressman Andy Biggs?
Yeah, so what I would be doing is I would be saying, I would say we're going to quit allowing states to abrogate our constitutional rights. I mean, you got people driving in their car, nobody else around them. Because they're outside their home, they're getting cited with $1,000 fines or criminal sanctions. They're turning off electricity and utilities to what they deem non-essential businesses. You try telling a business owner who's dropped their life savings into a business that somehow their business is non-essential when the market has always told them it's essential. I mean, this is what's going on in the economy. So my plan is to open this thing up and to take the measures that we need to for the identified most vulnerable population and the people who are caring for those population. I'm talking about the medical care providers, the elder care providers, the first responders. Those are the people who should be getting tested first. And I think you make sure that the vulnerable populations, those with the very serious illnesses, as well as the elderly folks, they're going to get care, and we take care of them. But if you don't open up the economy, you're not going to be just talking about coronavirus in another 3 months. You're going to be talking about a Great Depression. You're going to be talking about. I mean, we're talking potential over the next 2.5, 3 weeks, and I've talked to economists about this just yesterday, who told me you have a potential to have 30 million people out of work in this country by the end of April. Now, James T., that's worse than the Great Depression as far as people unemployed, and that's a 20% rate roughly. Excuse me, it's about 18% rate of employable population.
I'd say that would be worse than the coronavirus as is affecting the country today. But people would say that I am a capitalist and that I hate people. But listen, if you're talking about the Great Depression, you're talking about poverty, you're talking about more deaths related to that and to depression. And I imagine going from full employment to a roaring economy to absolutely nothing, bankruptcy in a matter of weeks, that could have a psychological impact on people, and it is having a psychological impact on people. And I don't understand why that is not talked about more. Congressman Biggs, you've called for the government to pay for takings if they continue to shut down the economy. What would that look like?
Well, the federal government has, at least I will say this, has not done any taking in the sense of forced shutting down. But states have. A number of states have come in and basically shut down businesses. That is a taking. And we require constitutionally that there be recompense, a just, fair market for the taking that government has done. And so that's what we'd be looking at. And right now, unfortunately, the states that are doing this, that are crippling their economies the most, the federal government is transferring wealth from states like Arizona, which has done less in that way, to states like California, New York, Pennsylvania, where they've shut their economies down, and the federal government is backstopping them. So they're basically shutting down their economies. The federal government's backstopping them, which means what? It means everybody everywhere else is basically saying is taking on that liability. That's a real problem. So we need to let the states have some skin in the game. We need to make sure that they recognize that they are, if they're going to cripple their economy, that their citizens are going to bear the brunt of that and not spread that across the entire nation.
That is absolutely brilliant, and I hope that comes through. And you're right. We need to get away from the robbing Peter to pay Paul. They get to pretend to be a holy and all righteous in their social separation in their policies, and yet it's other states that have gone in a different direction have to end up paying for it. Congressman Andy Biggs, I want to thank you very much for your time today.